but they're usually not here. Not a city council meeting.
Very good. Okay, we're on the Zoom camera.
Welcome, everybody. We'd like to begin this meeting of the Board of Commissioners for Washington County for February the 16th, 2021. We appreciate those who are in attendance, those who have assembled the agenda, and for those who are in the audience. We know that those who would like to attend via Zoom have the ability to call the county at any time to find out what the Zoom meeting ID and passcode are, and we encourage those who can't attend with us to do that. In fact, today our invocation is by Tim Martin, who we certainly appreciate, of the Interfaith Council here in Washington County, and I believe Tim is I already saw his pretty face on the TV. So
Hey.
Tim, are you with us?
I'm with you. You may not recognize me with my beard. I had to grow one because I've been here for 15 years in St. George. So either had to grow a beard or buy a pickup. And I said, well, we'll make it the beard. I also would announce that a combination of free tax service, which for many years for the seniors has been done at the St. George Senior Center. And the Senior Center is closed this year because of COVID. So the Interfaith Council went to work, and we are doing taxes now at the St. George Catholic Church in the west parking lot. And I just came from there, and the line was very long, and I think we already had about 40 people come. So another service provided by the good citizens of Washington County. A similar service is being offered in the city of Washington and in Hurricane. So if anybody needs to know how to get their taxes done, the seniors especially, have them contact me. So it's nice to be part of this community where everybody is working to make things happen. And I appreciate you guys are part of that group as well.
So with the number of people there getting their taxes done at the Catholic Church, it's fair to say
Yeah, well, drive-through sort of a deal this year, you know? And so I've got 13 returns to do right here. And then we'll meet up again with them at the Cousy Hall at the Catholic Church next week to go through them and then file them. So
it's fair to say they're being done in mass.
well, you still got to do each one. And you know, the 18 people in St. George and Washington County that are doing this, we all had to take 4 different tests and hours of training. And so it's not a trivial commitment, but it's a great service.
Appreciate that. Well, when you're ready, we'd love to have you offer our invocation.
Yes, if you'd please join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful this day to be part of this marvelous Washington County. We're thankful for the service that's provided by our commissioners and by those who serve with them, who are part of the staff, who are part of the team that makes all this happen. We're thankful for the blessings that we enjoy. We're thankful for the rain that we've received and pray that we might continue to receive that rain. We ask thy blessing, Father, upon those who will be presenting today, that they might be able to present the thoughts that they've worked so hard to prepare. We pray for inspiration to be with our commissioners and others who might speak, that they might be able to represent all of us and continue this great community that we have here. We ask thy blessing now upon all those who are suffering, especially those who are suffering from COVID and other diseases. They might be comforted. We're so thankful for those first responders and all those who are working to keep us all safe, and pray a blessing of protection and healing upon them. We now dedicate this time to thee and dedicate this meeting to those in our county and all those who are laboring and hoping that our life will return to normal soon. And these blessings we ask in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Tim, would you please thank the Catholic Church and leaders there? And we're sorry about the senior center not being available for that, but we do want everyone to know that that's where the public health is carrying out their vaccinations. And
Oh yeah, it's being well used.
It's being used
well
for
used,
that.
and
Yes.
you know, I bring it up just to point out that there is a marvelous spirit here within Washington County, and I think all these things together are a manifestation of that. So thank you for your work toward keeping that spirit proper.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Well, we'd have a Pledge of Allegiance at this time. It's always a privilege to invite those who are here with Dixie High School Junior ROTC, and today we have Shaylin Lamb. And if you'll lead us, we sure appreciate you being here.
If you will, could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance.
flag United States of America, to the republic
Thank you so much, and thanks your commander. All right, we have a consent agenda before us. This is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than requests to remove items, a motion to approve the items of the consent agenda is not debatable.
Well, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda, which is item A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for February 3rd, 2021 through February 16th, 2021. Consideration of regular commission meeting minutes of February 2nd, 2021, and work meeting minutes of January 19th, 2021. C, consideration of administrative adjustments real property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments personal property. E, consideration of applications for property tax abatement, which there are two. And F, acknowledgement of the publishing notice of adoption of ordinance number 2021-1168-0 and 2021-1169-0 on Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. And that is my motion on the consent agenda.
And Chairman, I would second the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Iverson and seconded by Commissioner Cox. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. One of the privileges of working with the county is that we get to work with people for a long time, and they love their jobs, and we appreciate them staying around. We have with us today our undersheriff, Sheriff Chief Stanley, and we'd like you to please come up, Sheriff, and present these two awards.
About 1.5.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. So I have two people who I'd like to recognize today, and that's Sergeant Nate Abbott, if you wouldn't mind coming up, and Lieutenant Ryan Larkin, who is at the moment at dispatch helping them with some server catastrophe that is way beyond my scope and scale. So anyway, he promised me he'd be here, but things happen. So I've had
That's the nature of your business.
Yeah, that's
things
that's
happen.
the nature of the business. So it is unique when you get the opportunity recognize somebody who's been in law enforcement for 20 years. Because up to that point, nothing matters. So I can tell you that this gentleman standing to my left is happy to be here. Whether he displays it or not, there's that magical moment in your law enforcement career where you say to yourself, wow, I'm untouchable now. And that's where he's at. And he has done a phenomenal job. He started in corrections, went to patrol. Right now he's our sergeant in investigations and is doing a phenomenal job. And we appreciate him. And we offer him support in staying as long as he likes.
Absolutely.
But now he gets the freedom of thought to leave whenever he wants, which is a beautiful place to be in law enforcement. So congratulations.
Thank you. Stay with us. We're going to have a picture. Go ahead and address the other one unless you want to try and wait.
No, I'd be happy to. So the other one is Ryan Larkin. He has been with me most of my career. I did much of my time in corrections, and Ryan was my right-hand man for a lot of those years, and for a very good reason. He possesses all the qualities that I don't. He's good with the computer. He can run numbers. He's a policy guy. He is phenomenal in all those things. And so if you were to look through the sheriff's office policy or budget or any number of things, you would see his handwriting on all of those things. Very equipped to handle all those things. And it's weird for me because I remember the day he hired on. He was just a kid, you know. And here we are 20 years later, and it's
So were
it's
you.
awesome. I suppose I was, but in my mind I still am.
Yeah.
So, but it's awesome to recognize them in this 20-year mark. It's awesome.
Well, you admit, I'm sure, as we all attest to, if we surround ourselves with really good people,
Absolutely.
it can't help but make us look good. And so
So true.
that's why you're always saying, hey, Sheriff Abbott's going to answer that, or Sheriff Larkin is here. Let's
That's
turn
right.
to him. Yeah.
Let them handle what they do, and they do it well.
Well, we'd like to have a picture with you at least.
Yes,
Let's do
thank
it.
you. Thank you for your service.
Well, that's a real privilege for us, and we wanted to do that publicly. We used to kind of take them around and ask your assistance, but the public should know just how long someone's been here when you think of 20 years dedication. You say that they're kind of insulated now. They can't. I think if either one of them let everyone out of the jail, that insulation might go away. Okay.
Just,
It's on their
just
mind.
one last piece of trivia. Lieutenant Larkin is also licensed pilot. And a
Very
lot of
good.
people may not know that, but I had the distinct pleasure to work with these gentlemen for about almost 20 years. And you really are awesome.
Yep.
The new ones that have come in since, I don't know them all, but all of you guys have just knocked the ball out of the park.
Wonderful, thank you. We see some of our Emergency Operations Center folks here. Item number 2 is a presentation and recognition of Fire Warden of the Year for Adam Hyder. Is someone representing?
Jason.
Mike?
And
Oh,
Mike
Jason
Mellon.
is here,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And Adam?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Brett Osler. I'm the State Fire Management Officer for the division. And this is an honor to be down here today. This is actually the first time we've ever presented one of these in a commission meeting. We usually do this at our fall meetings at the end of the fire season, but we don't have an end of fire season anymore, so we just took advantage.
Just straight on through.
Straight on through. That's what we're becoming used to. But 29 counties, 29 wardens, and last year we decided that Mr. Hyder here, with the outstanding job that he had done on a statewide level, we felt that he deserved this award, and he worked hard for it. I've known Adam for a number of years, and so we wanted to present this award to him. Adam Hyder, Warden of the Year, represented from the State Forester, Brian Cottam. So, Adam?
Wow, wonderful. Thank you, Brett. Adam, would you comment a little bit about this season?
Chaotic, to say the least. But I definitely couldn't do my job without, first, the support of our emergency services department. They do a lot for us. They do a lot for the public and notifications and getting that information out there to help people keep safe. And then our sheriff's office is definitely the best in the state. They do a lot. And this year, you know, compared to what went on in the rest of the state, we've seen something that I've never seen in my career. People camping every square inch of our county, literally every square inch, and the amount of citations these gentlemen had to issue this year, unreal.
For open fires and...
Yeah, and I even had to wake the sheriff up at 1:30 in the morning one day because things were getting pretty out of hand, and he had my back, and that was huge. All of them, all their supervisors, all the way down to the patrol guys, they had to deal with some of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Sure.
From A to Z, any kind of human start you could think of happened in this county last year. A record number of fires, and I know we didn't get statistics on all of them. We do have the most amazing fire departments in this state. No reason that we shouldn't have lost a lot of homes and lives this summer, and we lost a home on one of the fires. So that's a testament to the training and stuff that we've been pushing for decades as a division, and support from the counties and the way we do business. So I appreciate it.
One burning question. Do you care to respond on the Vail fire, just how quickly a wind will take something and how quickly you and the other local captains, chiefs, all responded to prevent what was approaching a beautiful community with great ferocity?
Well, there was multiple Vail fires that threatened not only the town of Vail, but Dameron, you know, from the backside on one of them. I think the one that you're talking about particularly was the Vail West fire, which also threatened Brookside as well. And a lot of those fires, whether the wind was coming out of the south or the north, which is fairly unusual as well, did threaten a lot of structures. And that one in particularly, it ran across that town faster than we could really do much with it other than get people out of the way and try to protect what we could. And everything that could go wrong that day did go wrong. The tanker base, the pumps went out, so we couldn't pump retardant, so they had to divert to Phoenix to refill the larger air tankers. A lot of issues that day, and you know, we were fortunate that we only lost a primary resident, and you know, a lot of outbuildings. You know, some of those homeowners took a lot of damage to, you know, the things that were out around their house, farming equipment and stuff like that. But for no one to get seriously injured or hurt, killed this summer, it's pretty baffling, really. We had some very large fires that did the same thing at Cottonwood Trail, that we had to shut down the interstate. Same thing there. I don't understand how we only lost a vehicle.
Yeah, it's pretty chaotic there.
Yeah, thank you, Adam, for just all your hard work over the years. But this year, last year especially, with, you know, this year we don't have a wet spring, but for 2 years in a row we had these really wet springs that allowed fuels to build up, and then we'd go into these historical dry, hot periods of time. And the fact that we've fared as well as we did really speaks to you and the entire team, as you've mentioned, how we have great mutual aid in this county. Everybody just rushes to the point of attack and is able to deal with these situations. And, you know, credit to you for bringing that together. You do a great job, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, and one thing you've often said to us and to get out to the public is, if you see a fire, stay away. They congest the roads, they they're curious, but they hinder your activity, so, we'll send that public service announcement out again.
And people need to be careful this next year. I mean,
Yeah,
We're already having fires. We've already had 3 fires that we've had to go assist on last month.
wow.
Even with the little bit of moisture we're still getting wildfires in the valleys. They're all human cause, of course. So, you'd think you can burn and do a few things this time of year, but
Gets
it's
away.
that dry.
Yep.
And it's only gonna get worse.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Brett, for coming down here. You can't help but say it wasn't a good weather trip for you, though. Well, even though it's a little cloudy out there, there still is this thing called the sun.
yeah. Fantastic. Should we do a photo as well?
I certainly hope so. Brett, would you join us, please? And any members of the EOC? Along with that lines, we'd love to have our emergency services report on the activities in the county.
I'll try and be brief. So this report covers from January 18th through February 14th. And for us, it's fairly manageable. Normally, we have a few more rescues than this, so it's really not bad as far as that goes. We had 6 rescues in that time. On January 24th, we had a injured hiker on Scout Cave, and we invested 42 hours of man-hours on that search. On January 29th, we had an overdue subject on Danish Ranch Road, and that was a 36-hour response, or man-hours. On February 4th, we had a call to assist Mojave County in a rescue of a 62-year-old man who was hiking and had a rock fall and crush him. They did a remarkable job of getting him out and getting him to Life Flight, but he did not make it ultimately. They got him to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries, but they did a remarkable job of providing what they needed to do at that time. On February 12th, we had a UTV accident on Sand Mountain. We invested 20 man-hours in that one. Again, on the 12th, we had an injured mountain biker on Guacamole Trail. And last but not least, one name you'll hear multiple times this year, some stranded hikers out on Island in the Sky. That one seems to be quite popular. Yes. It's easy to get on top, but apparently hard to get out of. So, and that's exactly what happened in this
At the
case.
trailhead, it says, "Welcome to Island in the Sky, good place to get lost."
Yeah, and it is.
And they do.
Yeah. So
It does say a good place to get lost?
No, but it should.
but it should.
I'm just thinking looking up must not look as dangerous as looking down
Oh,
after you're up
yes.
there.
We need to have a satellite office up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should, yes.
Yeah.
That would be wise.
We were gonna come anyway, so we're just here.
And that's it for this report. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
let's hope it stays
Thanks.
that minimal. All right, well, thanks for what you do. We have some purchase requests that we'd like to hear from Ray at this time. Thank you for coming.
I guess I'm the boring one.
You clear a room.
I have a lot of money to spend. The first one here is for an 8-foot high tan block wall for the Court Support Services building. This cost includes all material and labor for $11,040. The next couple are for emergency services. This one is for a digital pressure test kit, which measures the pressure in the hazmat suits. This is going to be reimbursed via their grant, one of their grants, for $13,800 and be dispersed regionally. The next one is for, this is hazmat detectors. Sorry, I couldn't read my own handwriting. Anyway, the hazmat detectors, and this is for $29,555.43, also being dispersed regionally and also grant funded. The next one is for the Dixie Center. This is for some more tables and a table cart. These are coming out of CARES Act money because they needed more tables for social distancing and crowd control. This is a total of $35,395.50. The next one is for the sheriff's office. This is a blanket PO for commissary purchases. This amount will get us through approximately 3 months preparing for the April through June time for $30,000. And the final one is also for the sheriff's office. This is for an undercover drug task force vehicle for $34,208. And this budget line item is over budget at this time, but the sheriff's office has accounted for the value being reimbursed with trade-in vehicles and credits that we already have. And that's a total of $34,208.
Ray, I've got a comment, and it would be that in the future, if we're buying anything that's undercover, I would like the description of the vehicle to be separate from the PO.
Sure.
Would that work, Sheriff? You okay with that?
That's why I didn't mention the,
I'm glad you didn't say any more.
yeah.
I would like to make a motion to approve the purchase requisitions as submitted.
And I will second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second for those purchase items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Or Ray, you could put in the PO that it doesn't work and that it's not able to accomplish the goals of the sheriff's office. I mean, you just couch it in such terms that they think then, oh, we're safe to commit a crime.
I'll get it figured out for you.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Our next item is item number 5, a consideration of ordinance number 2021-1170-0, an ordinance establishing a temporary land use regulation on applications, approvals, or permitting of rural recreation grounds and facilities in all unincorporated areas of Washington County. We have asked for Victoria Hales to come up and please address this item.
Good afternoon. I'm Victoria Hales. I'm a lawyer in this, and I am so happy to work for you guys, and I want to discuss a temporary land use ordinance. We are proposing...
And we are happy to have her here working
Right.
for us.
Yeah, we should be thanking you.
A temporary land use ordinance or regulation is also what is commonly called a moratorium. And it's utilized in this instance, and we're requesting it in this instance, to fix something that hasn't worked. Nobody should feel bad if you draft an ordinance and then you determine that it's not working the way you intended it to work and you need to fix it. So what happened is we tried something called PDRRGF, Planned Development Rural Recreation Grounds and Facilities. We didn't anticipate the types of projects we would get, their density, or in what zones they were requested in. So right now, that zone, that PD zone for rural rec, can go in any zone, residential, open space, any zone. And we really did not plan appropriately. We didn't contemplate that people would request them in instances where it might not be as appropriate as we anticipated at the time. It caused conflicts with other established uses like residential uses. And over time we've learned that as drafted, it's too broad and it isn't working. So what we'd like to do is impose a temporary moratorium for 6 months and come back with regulations that make better sense, that better address zoning and density issues, and so we get these projects where we want them with the densities and intensities that we want them in. So there will be projects in rural rec. We need to plan for those. We need to plan better for those. And we want projects at a scale and in zones that are appropriate. We want projects, but we want our code to catch up to the industry. And right now, it's not where we need it. So this request won't affect pending applications that are complete. Those complete applications will be processed under the zoning regulations that existed when they were submitted. But that is what we're requesting. And state law, particularly Utah Code annotated 1727A504, allows a temporary ordinance to be imposed if the commission finds that there's a compelling interest and countervailing public interest for the temporary land use regulations. So when you make your motion, we would request a finding that there is a compelling governmental interest and a countervailing public interest to impose the temporary land use regulation.
I think you've done a great job, Victoria, of kind of explaining the lay of the land, so to speak. And I can remember a few years back talking with Scott Messel about a couple different issues. We had family compounds, for example, families that had mountain property or rural property, and they wanted to have multiple cabins on it, and there wasn't really a place to put them. We also talked about the need for campgrounds in rural parts of the county. And so that was kind of the genesis of this thought process. And of course, it's changed into a fairly high intensity land use density issue now. And so we've been trying to tinker with it. And it's almost like, I felt like when we had Adam Hyder up here talking about fire conditions, I almost feel like those are the type of conditions we have out there where we're continuing to see more and more of these projects come in. Their impact is we're not ready for them. The roads and infrastructure is not ready for them. And so we need to take a step back, at least it's my opinion, and the reason I'll be voting for this ordinance is I think we need to push pause and we need to really take an evaluation of what density levels look like, their impact on the rest of the rural communities that they're being asked to put in. And really kind of, my hat's off. We have great county staff, and they've worked really hard to be accommodating. But it's been difficult for them to make the right decisions based on kind of the latitudes that current ordinances give them. So,
well, the industry is just much further ahead than our planning regulations. So if we get everything back to mesh together better, you'll get better projects, and you'll get them in the areas where you want them. And a lot of them are very commercial oriented, and I don't think we really planned for that. And nobody should feel bad. I mean, we tried something, it didn't work, we're gonna try something, hopefully it'll work better, and if not, we'll tweak that.
I had a vision of maybe nice campouts,
Yeah.
or, kind of KOA where mom and pops could find a nice safe place to camp. I didn't really envision, $400 glamping tents that are at the end of a road that is already struggling with other issues. And so this will give us a chance. Now, it's not saying we're putting a moratorium on those higher end type of developments, but we need to be able to justify their impact and kind of give some direction there, at least in my opinion, as I've thought about this issue quite a bit. So
I'd like to thank you and Brian and the rest of the civil staff as well for keeping me apprised. I know you've spoken with all of the commissioners individually, but on ways that we can make this work the way we wanted it to work and fill that government need and that compelling, countervailing public need. And so if we're ready for a motion, I would go ahead and move to support ordinance number 2021-1170-0 with a supporting finding that this resolution builds a compelling county interest and a countervailing public interest. Is that stated correctly?
Perfect, yes.
And this ordinance establishes a temporary land use regulation moratorium on applications, approvals, or permitting of rural recreation grounds and facilities in all unincorporated areas of Washington County. That would be my motion.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Seeing no opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
think,
that.
Victoria, you might remember that late 1800s, early 1900s, when a patent office official said, we should close the patent office because everything that's ever going to be invented has been invented. And I think, obviously, no vision, right? So I think if every ordinance that was written was going to be perfect through to the end, then why would we even be here, right? But they're not, and times change, things get invented, so to speak, and therefore ordinances get.
And we want good projects.
Yeah.
We want lots of good projects in the end, and that's what we're going to strive for.
I think Commissioner Almquist brings up a great point. This ordinance in no way should be considered as a doing away of rural recreation. We just want to do it right. So we're going to take the time and get that put together. So
Thank you.
We'll come back with a good regulation for.
Super, appreciate you. Item number 6, a consideration of a resolution R 2021-2727, a resolution approving an agreement between Washington County, Buffalo Skull LLC, and Ned Ledoux for a country music performance held at the Washington County Fair. Susie Lafayette.
this is quite a bit of paperwork just to get Ned Ledoux here. Now, if you could get his father, Chris Ledoux, here, I'd be even more impressed.
Right, more impressed that he can rise from the grave, right? So yes, commissioners, we're asking for an approval to bring Ned Ledoux for a concert to the Washington County Fair on Friday, April 16th. We think it'll be a really good tie-in. That's our day where we have our junior rodeo. The concert won't start until 8 o'clock. We just think it'll be a great fill-in to bring other people to the fair that might not come otherwise.
No,
Very good. And I just want to commend Susie. Susie, can you tell us the other 2 concerts that you will have at the county fair as well?
Yes, we have. I chuckle every time because I'm really excited about this one. It's the Como La Flor Band, which is a Selena tribute artist band, and that will be held Thursday night. We had actually had them booked for last year for 2020 fair, but they live in California, and California was really shut down, so they weren't going anywhere. So we just kind of rolled over their contract to this year. That will be Thursday night at 8 p.m. And then we lost the one on Wednesday, so I replaced it with a family-friendly group called the Rock Bottom Boys. Kind of a folk song, country, banjo. It's our family night at the fair, so it'll just be a free concert that night.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to it. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2021-2727, a resolution approving an agreement between Washington County, Buffalo Skull LLC, and Ned Ledoux for a country music performance held at the Washington County Fair. And I'd like to mention that is on April 16th of this year. So
I would like to second the motion.
Motion and a second, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Seeing no opposed, thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
thanks, Susie.
I brought you all a fan. It says, I'm a fan of the Washington County Fair.
All right.
Wonderful.
I'm laughing.
These are kind of Frisbee as well. So, yes.
Won't be in April.
We're
Right.
Well, and then it could be a hat, yeah.
However, that's Nicole's responsibility.
She control.
I've been praying for rain, so I don't know. I don't want to confuse them.
this year, if it rains, we'll celebrate it, and everybody will come out to see it. So,
Thank you, Susie. Thank you for filling in those gaps as well. All right, our next item, number 7, consideration of resolution R 2021-2728, approving renewal of medical director services agreements between Washington County and Bradley J. Crosby for medical director services for the Washington County Sheriff's Office EMS program. Sir.
I will do my best to answer any questions that you have about Crosby, but we like his services and we would love to retain him. Been phenomenal on EMS, especially
And
search
I
and
will
rescue stuff.
comment, he is an outdoorsman.
Absolutely.
He knows how to rappel. He has rappelling cliff equipment. He's worked with the sheriff's office, search and rescue, and he's a first-rate doctor, so I think it's a really wise choice.
He's been great for us. No complaints at all.
and I'll second the motion that Commissioner Cox
I just made in support of resolution R 2021-2728.
Wonderful. A motion by Commissioner Cox and seconded by Commissioner Iverson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And seeing no opposed. Thank you. Please tell him the good news, and we appreciate him. Thank you. Item number 8 is Resolution R 2021-27-29, appropriating expenditures of funds collected as Washington County's share of the Recreation, Arts, and Parks sales tax.
Chairman.
I think our RAP chair is here, and we'd love to hear about that, and then anything anyone else would like to add.
You should have in front of you the amounts that we requested, correct? And they totaled this year $584,000 to the, and we went through these thoroughly. So if you have any questions.
Well, tell us a little about your committee and how you take applications and how people would apply for this, and just tell us a little bit how you think RAP is working in Washington County.
So we have the applications were due in, oh heavens, it's a long process. It was September. They're put out in August. They're due in September, and we are always looking and updating the form. We're going to update the form again this year as we've seen some things that need to be modified. We start meeting in October. We look at 1/4 of the applications every time we meet, and we go over them in detail. And we look at make sure that they fit the criteria which we have for the RAP tax. And at that point, we simply say whether we're going to approve them or not. Say yes, they qualify for funding, or no, they don't. And every 2 weeks, we meet and discuss 8 to 10 different grants. When we have questions about them, we reach out to the entities. We might table some at that point. Reach out to the entities, gather more information before we approve them, and we did that with a few this year, including a couple of us drove up to Springdale to visit one of the sites to physically inspect and see what they had going on to make sure it was something viable. And then we met in December, and between the last meeting, the 4th meeting, and the 5th meeting, we all have a spreadsheet where we put our recommendations on it, and we meet, and then we talk about them and come to a consensus at our recommendations for each group. And that's the report that we have here. And along the way, we've also made sure that we received the grant report for those who've received monies in past years, made sure we received that, looked those over, just to make sure that they're on track for doing the things that we're looking for happening with the arts in the county. We try to do our best to make sure each group is represented. We want to make sure that all those who've applied have that opportunity, and we actively seek out that might qualify and let them know that they can apply for this.
Do you ask for or ever receive any follow-up information after the events are held?
Yes.
That tell you successful, we learned this?
And that's a part of the reports that we receive that talk about their events, what they've done, what worked. This year, with COVID, we extended the length that they could use some of the money, and some of those are still in the process of using that from the previous year. So we have a lot of us who attend events just on our own. We're already out and attending a lot of the fine arts events and try to make a connection with each group in some way.
We sure appreciate the effort that your group puts into this, and I think we've been going, about 5 years or on that?
I should make sure you recognize that we also have Diamond here, who is our incoming chairperson. Been awesome as well at Sinline. He's had a lot of experience with being on boards like this.
I think this committee, this RAP board, is always it's amazed me the quality of individuals that are willing to step up in this community and serve on it, and you guys do such a great job. I have to admit, this is only 15% of the total RAP. It's held back and primarily for arts, and kind of historical performing groups. And you guys do such a great job at vetting them, putting them through kind of a structure. I remember I was the commissioner that was kind of assigned to put this together, and I was really worried about, the quality of board that we could pull together. And as soon as those applications came in and we were able to interview that first group. I realize that in this community, we have some just super quality people who love and care about the arts and are willing to do this, so thank you. I always, you know, I know that when this list gets to us, it's been a list that's been vetted, and I appreciate that. It means a lot.
We have a great board.
You do. You have a great board.
As you said, everything is vetted far more than you realize. So
Yeah, exactly.
We look at every little detail.
Well, we appreciate that, and especially it's been, well, years ago that I came to the knowledge that a lot of these groups, when you buy sheet music or you buy the rights to perform a play or something, that's not cheap. It's often very expensive because it's copyrighted or it's in one word, Disney, and they're proud of it, and you can't just perform it. So having said that, you know, you've gone through a wide mix of those who have those kind of expenses, but that also provide a huge variety. So thank you for that very much.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2021-2729, a resolution appropriating expenditures of funds collected as Washington County's share of the Recreation, Arts, and Parks sales tax.
And I second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Seeing no opposed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. And thank you for being here, Diamond, on your upcoming events and help. Having said that, our next item is similar, creation or consideration rather of resolution number R-2021-2730, appropriating expenditures of funds collected as Washington County's share of the Recreation, Arts, and Park sales tax for unincorporated Washington County. Nicole.
Sure, thank you. I thought that I would just give a little bit of history on the RAP tax for those that might not be as familiar with it. So there was a ballot opinion question that was put on the November 4th, 2014 ballot in the general election that where Washington County voted their opinion on whether the county should impose a sales and use tax, which is 0.1% to fund recreation, culture organizations, and facilities. The majority of the ballots were in favor of this tax, and then it came to the commission, and the commission approved it. So this started back in 2015, where we started collecting that tax. And 85%, as Commissioner Iverson mentioned, 85% of the 0.1% went to cities and county based upon population and point of sale. And then 50% went to the cultural organizations, and we just heard from the chair of the board that was formed, and they are all volunteers, so we, again, really do appreciate everything that they do and the time that they put into really vetting that 15% of the tax. So what I'm here before you today is the county portion of the 85%, and each year, around the end of each year, we go out to all the unincorporated areas and we ask them for a prioritization list if they're interested in putting in an application and then to prioritize their list. This year we got an incredible amount of applications back, more than we've ever gotten, so that was great. As we continue to really beautify the unincorporated areas of the county, and this actually really focuses on recreation, arts, and parks. So that's the cultural side. We're really looking at the recreation side. So before you today is a list coming before you as a recommendation that totals in the unincorporated side. And I want to do one little amendment on the second, which is to Diamond Valley. Instead of a straight 15,000, I wanted to give them that 15,133.42 so that they could do everything they needed to with their light poles. But the total amount that I'm recommending to the commission today, to the different areas, is 113,679.52, and that will kind of be divided up with the different projects that they have. You might recognize we are unable really to give everything that all of the areas need, but we do try to communicate with them. We break up their projects a little bit so that we can have kind of completed projects within a year or two of, giving them money. You'll notice that Gunlock did put in an application this year. This is the first time we've heard from Gunlock. I did recommend a little bit more for them to try to, just allow them to do a really great project in their area. which is a concession stand that they're going to start to put together that would include bathrooms. So that'll be about a 2-year process, but nonetheless, I think it's a very worthy cause.
Nicole, I think you do an outstanding job reaching out to our unincorporated communities. And I would like our residents to know that the receiving entity, park or whatever, is either county-owned or is a recognized non-taxable entity by the state of Utah or the IRS. And so the public has perpetual access guaranteed for these places that have these funds invested in these parks. I'd say most of them are just publicly owned, though.
That's correct.
Where we own the property and we're improving it for those residents.
And we do check that each year to just make sure that their status is still, you know, up par and everything. And I also just want to just let Cheyenne know that she's such a great help in this area as well. I mean, she does the cultural side and she's also working on the unincorporated side. So she does really great with that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cheyenne. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion in support of Resolution R 2021-2730, a resolution appropriating expenditures of funds collected as Washington County's share of the Recreation, Arts, and Parks sales tax for unincorporated Washington County.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Can we do that with that slight amendment to fix the Diamond Valley line item? Are you?
Yes, and that gives them that full amount. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second with that amendment for the Diamond Valley, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposed, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Our next item is the item number 10, consideration of a resolution R 2021-2731, a resolution appointing a board member to the Habitat Conservation Technical Committee. I think
Cameron here?
we'd given that over to Cameron, but on
yeah,
Zoom.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, like a voice from above.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So yeah, we just have a change to the technical committee. Hillary Whitcomb with Fish and Wildlife Service recently accepted a new position in Idaho, and so Garrett Sisson with the Fish and Wildlife Service will be her replacement.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited about that.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'd like to
it's a good change, and we're excited about it. We have a whole new crew with Fish and Wildlife Service that we're working to implement the new HCP.
Absolutely.
Thank
I know this is
great job
traditionally
on
Commissioner Cox's domain, but I'm just so enthusiastic. I would like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2021-2732, a resolution approving. No, that's the wrong one. I was
31.
skipped down. Okay, I'd like to go back and read
You're
the resolution.
so excited.
I'm so excited about the next one. Resolution R-2021-2731, a resolution appointing a board member to the Habitat Conservation Technical Committee, and Gary Sessions. And that is my motion.
And I will second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 I probably should let Commissioner Cox do that. But
You did great.
when I saw that we're going to get an upgrade on that committee.
It's almost like you were so excited to go on the date you forgot the girl's name.
Exactly.
Okay, so our next item.
And I really, Commissioner Cox is the one that's had to sit through all those meetings, so he's the one that benefits.
He's really
And
the
there
most.
was a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yes.
and it didn't go out.
Very good. Item 11, consideration of resolution R 2021-2732, a resolution approving Council of Government recommendations. Victor.
Okay, so the Council of Government, basically, we're the approving body. The recommendations come from all of our mayors in the county, and in approving purchases of right-of-ways for important roads, future roads, as those become available. And so the list here in our resolution is basically outlining what has already been voted on at the Council of Governments and has been discussed and debated in as far as their need and purpose and how that would work. And so with that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution R-2021-2732, a resolution approving Council of Government recommendations for these right-of-way road purchases.
And just clarifying, in those COG meetings, which are open, advertised, public meetings. When they vote there, that vote is a recommendation that then comes to this body. So this is the actual empowering vote. But I would like
And those revenues to purchase right-of-ways come from car
driver's
registration.
license, car
and
registration. fees.
There's one other fee that's associated with that, right, Kim, or is it just car registrations? Okay, very good. So,
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much. Well, we have a commissioner's report, and this is an opportunity for us to report on some of the things that we see happening out there. I know that personally, the legislature is in session, and we're watching very closely some of the things that are occurring there that affect the county. I believe that we have an obligation to the voters, that we see what sort of legislation is being proposed up north, let's say, that could impact us down south, or vice versa. And we certainly hope that the public knows how important it is that they also not only have us as representatives of what's best for our county and the interest that we show in our municipalities and towns within the county, but that there are some bills up there that are highly alarming and that would affect our life in Washington County. And we're luckily also to have groups like the Utah Association of Counties, as well as the Utah League of Cities and Towns, that have their input and represent us as well. And our legislators do an amazing job in only 45 days to deal with things that are so life-changing, really. And most ordinances, or excuse me, most laws that are passed really do clean up issues that perhaps, like we discussed earlier, need amending or fixing. And then there's others that just come out of the blue and we scratch our heads. So we're aware of that, and we're on top of it for the next portion of this legislative session. I just want everyone to be aware of that. Victor?
yes, I'd like to, we have some gentlemen here to discuss the Shooting Sports Park. I will tell you that it's been well over probably 20 years ago. Brent Jensen, I don't know exactly when I first heard about the Shooting Sports Park, but I remember Brent taking me out there, and we were talking about kind of what was going on. And of course, just for the public, those that might be joining us via Facebook Live or watching this later, an entity like a county is able to apply to the Bureau of Land Management for the use of property for recreation and public purposes. And so Brent and some others put together this idea of a shooting sports park. And when Brent first took me out to that site, I could see his vision, but I couldn't see how it was going to happen. And what has happened is individuals of our county have come together and really built a county shooting sports park that's out there, and they wanted to come and maybe talk just a little bit about that history. Lee Scott is here, and if you wouldn't just take a few minutes just to kind of discuss that.
I heard you emphasize few, and we will try and be brief. My name is Lee Scott, and the purpose that we're meeting here today, and by the way, commissioners, I appreciate you taking the time to do that, because we weren't on the agenda, and I know you're a busy, and I know that you are busy people. But I have
never too busy for you, though, Lee.
Pardon me?
Never too busy for you.
Yeah, sure. I have with me two people, Brent Jensen and Steve Bradbury, if I can remember his name. Boy, my mind's getting terrible. Steve Bradbury. And along with Victor Iverson, they probably know more about the shooting sports park than any group of individuals in the county. Those three. And what we'd like to do today is just simply give you just a little bit of a history lesson of what happened out there and what's happening now in regards to history. And we're not after anything. We'd like to enlighten the county commission to that point, or to those points. We want to start probably with Brent. Brent, tell them your former title.
I'll take this off, so don't be alarmed. What title? The BLM administers the Recreation and Public Purposes Act, as Commissioner as mentioned, makes land available to local government entities for a variety of public purposes. We were interested in finding a place to shoot. Came here from Idaho where we shot a lot. Here there was nothing. And anyway, a group of us kind of worked together and suggested, BLM actually suggested the site where the range is now, and issued a 20-year lease to Washington County on 513 acres. And that lease was dated July 7, 1999, a 20-year lease. Okay, the Act, RMPP, requires a development plan and a timetable, and when completed, the lands involved can be patented to the leaseholder. This is how the Legacy Park was acquired out there. However, one of the BLM folks that had worked here and had since moved to Salt Lake didn't think the thing would ever materialize like someone else we know, and deleted the patent clause. So a local, in the process of this, a local lawyer and a shooter, Brent Blanchard, developed an interlocal agreement. This became our constitution. It was made up of Washington County and the cities of the county working together to develop a plan for management and development of the park. Now, there's been various levels of involvement here. Hurricane has been very supportive and involved in this development. By contrast, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but St. George has done absolutely nothing. Zero. So a local company, Gold Wheel Construction, Salisbury's, started moving dirt for the rifle pistol range out there, and they were working, doing a great job, and we ran completely out of funds. And so I told them, hey, I guess you'll have to shut her down, and they came back to me and said, hey, we started this job, we'll finish it, which they did without remuneration. And when it started, people started seeing it, what was happening out there. Many companies and individuals stepped up and assisted with the development, including Commissioner Iverson, who was then a private contractor, and very much appreciate what you've done out there, and it's a monument.
I should have done a better job if I would have had more faith, right?
Okay, and Utah DWR provided the first dollars, and they were used for completion of an environmental assessment, which was required, and started the fencing. And NRA has provided grants totaling $207,000, with $96,000 of that going to the rifle pistol venue. So 6 venues were developed and are now managed by concessionaires authorized by Washington County. The park has become well known regionally as a popular location for the shooting sports. We receive compliments constantly on the facility. These concessionaires pay a fee to the county for operating there. Okay, the lease expired on July 6, 2019. Prior to expiration, the plan was to then secure a new lease with patent provisions, since it was not included in the original lease, and then immediately proceed with securing of the patent. Someone knows the current status.
Can I give you an update? Because we actually talked to the BLM today, and the good news is you know that there was another portion that we want to add on for the right-of-way to be able to extend the fall zone of the shotgun, and they're confident that they're going to be able to move very quickly on that and move right to patent. So the news from the BLM, hot off the press, is that they're moving forward. And you know the BLM, so we don't want to get our expectations up too quickly, but he feels pretty good about moving forward and including the additional road into the patent that they're going to be putting together.
Yeah,
so
good.
Moving together very, very quickly.
Yeah, I made an effort to contact both BLM and the county to get the current status. Nothing was available.
Well, the good news is I wasn't quite sure where we were on that right of way still. I mean, because it was back a year or two ago that we actually did the study and started submitting all the paperwork. And to the BLM's defense, they've been kind of occupied down here with a couple other big projects, and so now they feel better that those have cleared off their table. But just know that we're moving towards Patton. I think your dream is coming true. So.
Hey,
thank you, Brent. Thank you.
Commissioner, sorry, if I may, I know that you contacted our office. Part of the issue with our not knowing was that we've had some turnover in attorneys, and the attorney that was working on that is no longer in our office, and so there was some level of needing to get up to speed on understanding what was happening. But like Commissioner Iverson said, we were able to talk with the BLM finally and realized we had submitted our application and that everything's moving along quickly. But that's why we didn't have the information when you called us, so I do apologize about that.
Not even open.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Steve Bradbury. Long time ago, I got a phone call. The guy said, "Hey, you only got to shoot some trap." I said, "Where?" He said, "Out here." I said, "Well, yeah, okay." Drive out there, and they had men hiding behind cardboard or plywood with hand traps, throwing them. And I said, "You got to be kidding me." But yet I had the time of my life. So I went back home, and the gentleman that I had been involved in his election, I got a hold of Steve Urquhart. I said, "Steve, come out and shoot trap with me." So we go out there, and same thing. He just was blown away by it. I put him in my truck, and I drove him up on the hill, and I said, "Here's my plan." Laid it out. And he was so excited. He said, "What can I do for you? I need some money." He said, "All right, how much?" I said, "I'll get back to you." And he said, "Okay." And I called him back later. I said, "I need $1 million." He just gasped. But he got involved. Dave Clark got involved, and can't remember the other guy.
Hickman would have been.
Who?
Bill Hickman would have been
yes,
up
thank
there.
You, Hickman. And they got involved, and they found us not $1 million, but we ended up with $700,000, which we were able to, first of all, put in the baffle system at the rifle pistol range. We're creative in that when we got time to fill up all those baffles with rocks, went down to the jail, and I said, "I need some guys," and they sent them out there, and these guys filled all those baffles with 5-gallon buckets full of rocks that we would hand them. And all they wanted was donuts. Chocolate, yeah. And so we know how to work cheap, get what we need done. I would imagine when you also consider how much the county has put into this, every time you guys came out and did something, I just sat back and waited for a bill, and it never came. I mean, we got some bill for fuel and stuff like that, but luckily some people in the organization got behind it. My job was to kind of took up after Brent. This thing could beat you into the ground real fast, you know, and after I put in about 10 years, then I stepped aside and let other people take over. One of the things I have noticed, I got called back to do some evaluation stuff, is that we've come an enormous distance, but we've only scratched the surface of what can be done out there. There is a lot of opportunity to bring in a lot of funds into the county if we expand our looks, kind of get away from that little, you kind of have a little small thought process. And if we kind of open that up just a little bit, we can have national, international, Western regional, we could have thousands and thousands of people. That's where the money comes from. It's not from the everyday shooter that goes out there. I mean, they think they squawk about golf prices. You ought to hear about that out here at the park. But the real money comes in is when you open it up for events, and these guys come in and they're driving big trucks, living up big and spending
I
money.
apologize. I'm going to interrupt. We're getting a little bit away from just maybe a brief history and into an area that maybe would
Well,
not
I think,
be appropriate
yeah.
in.
You're absolutely,
setting.
but some great things have happened. As you were talking, Steve, I was thinking about the money that Lee was able to work with as far as getting the water out there. The vision you describe is the vision that my fellow commissioners have been very supportive of as far as we've had those ricochet problems. Brent's well aware of the ricochet problems. And we've recently moved all of the berms the other way. Some people say we definitely built those berms high enough. They should catch the ricochets now. But you're absolutely right that I think the thing that we all agree is that the exercise of the Second Amendment at a place like the Shooting Sports Park is what brings the Second Amendment alive. And the number of youth that have gone through there, starting with the BB gun shoots that Brent used to put on for years and years, but the stories of people that are coming back to us commissioners, of youth that are youth groups, they're out there shooting. Just thank you for your service. I know that things are, there's a lot of discussion on changes. The county and my fellow commissioners are committed to the idea that we support the Shooting Sports Park, and we want to continue to see it prosper. And there's some adjustments that we can bring to your attention off the record as well. So.
Oh, we have electrical power out there, and power people came to me and they say, hey, we want to build a power plant over here, but you've got the lease on some property, and we want it. I said, how much you want? He said, 10 acres. I'll tell you what I'll do. You run a line out here to the shotgun range for us, and I'll just back away from that 10 acres, which we really have no right on anyhow. It wasn't ours. And they said, great. We did, and we got all the power out there for free.
Oh, that's great.
And then I guess they built somewhere else. So we'll try.
Well, we appreciate the three of you and giving us that history. And
just a couple of comments really quick. These two people were really instrumental in developing the Shooting Sports Park. But along with that, you need to understand that we've had, I would say, hundreds of people spend thousands of hours, volunteer hours, out to the Shooting Sports Park. And without those volunteers, we wouldn't have anything out there at all. And so they've just been instrumental in the development and the success of the Shooting Sports Park. And that's just kind of the history of it. And I understand that you want to kick us out, and we're out of here. All right?
That's not it. I just want to stick to only the history portion and not stray into other areas that.
Well, and then if you don't have water and power, you don't have a lot of things. You can't do a lot of things. But I could tell you a lot of stories, and I'm not going to do that at this point.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you all, three of you.
Commissioners, thank you.
Thank you.
We can't do that. But, Dean, anything to add?
No, I'd just like to thank them for their help. And,
thank you. Yep.
Yes, thank you so much.
I would defer a moment if Tom Coleman has anything he needs to say, but otherwise we'll get him next time.
Okay, well, we seem to come to the end. The gavel is missing, so I'll just knock here and say we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Brent.